the Chi-Town experience on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the likes.
A huge change could be coming to the Chicago Bears offensive line. Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Bears fans, make sure you also do me a huge favor by also hitting the like button on today's episode of Keek on the Mic. As we all know, Bears fans, it was a very bad performance for the Chicago Bears offense. You know, a lot of people drew a lot of criticism for the way that quarterback Caleb Williams played, but we really need to take a look at the offensive line, especially the interior. As we all know, Coleman Shelton looked absolutely awful, getting knocked on his back and missing blitz picks up all game long over the Tennessee Titans. And it was basically the problem of the interior offensive line for the Chicago Bears. But Bears fans, there is a much bigger story to monitor in regard to the Chicago Bears offensive line that could mean a huge change is coming for the interior of the Chicago Bears offensive line. And I want to give huge credit to Jonathan Wood of the Bears blog for spotting this, but Nate Davis only played 18 snaps on Sunday for the Chicago Bears, while Ryan Bates actually played 28 snaps at right guard for the Bears offensive line on Sunday against the Tennessee Titans. He had this to say: Ryan Bates played 38 snaps at right guard and Nate Davis played 18. Looks to me like Davis is about to be the NFL's most expensive backup. Bates is working back from a shoulder injury, but seems poised to be the full-time starter at right guard soon. Bears fans, this is a really interesting development, but to me, this comes by no surprise whatsoever. The Chicago Bears, Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus seem to finally be done with right guard Nate Davis, and this definitely sucks because you gave the guy 3 years, $30 million contract last offseason to be your right guard for the next couple of years. But this guy has been nothing but a headache for the Chicago Bears offensive line ever since he arrived in free agency last offseason. When Nate Davis is not out because of injuries, he's making mistake after mistake on the football field. He just has not been good for the Chicago Bears offensive line. And don't get me wrong, Nate Davis has the potential to be a really talented guard in the National Football League, but he's rarely ever on his game and available for the Chicago Bears offensive line. And Bears fans, here's the interesting part about this whole situation in regard to Nate Davis. Both head coach Matt Eberflus and general manager Ryan Poles have singled out a guy like Nate Davis multiple times this offseason, voicing their frustrations of his inability to stay healthy, also combining that with his underwhelming performances during training camp and the preseason as well. It seems to me that general manager Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus have reached their wits' end and they're ready to allow Ryan Bates to become the starter at right guard for the Chicago Bears offensive line. And I truly feel that if Ryan Bates didn't suffer that shoulder injury during training camp, that he would have been the starting right guard for the Chicago Bears offensive line from the get-go, but I still think he's still trying to work his way back. But once he hits fully healthy, Ryan Bates will be the starting right guard for the Chicago Bears. And Bears fans, I'll be the first one to say Ryan Bates to me is not as talented as Nate Davis, but I feel like he is going to give his full effort on every single play and work his ass off for the Chicago Bears offensive line and just be available for this offensive line as well. And don't get me wrong, the Chicago Bears offensive line has a long way to go. We still have Coleman Shelton. Hopefully he improves over the season because he looked absolutely terrible as well. All in all, Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears organization definitely need to do their homework to add a really good quality center and right guard next offseason for the Chicago Bears. And Bears fans, as frustrating as this is, and as a Bears fan myself, I am very frustrated about the state of the offensive line. I want us to try to really preach the art of patience here, and it takes a couple of years to build a really good offensive line. And obviously it seems that Ryan Poles has made more additions to the defensive line rather than the offensive line. But I think over the next year or two, hopefully he can finally get the center position right and the right guard position right as well. When you look at the offensive line, you have your left tackle, you have your right tackle as well, and Darnell Wright and Braxton Jones. And if Tevin Jenkins can stay healthy, you also have an all-pro left guard. So the really big issues for the Chicago Bears offensive line is the center with Coleman Shelton and right guard with Nate Davis. Maybe Ryan Bates comes in and fills in for Nate Davis at right guard, and maybe he's outstanding. If that's the case, the only position of need for Ryan Poles on this offensive line for the Chicago Bears would be the center position. But as well, maybe Coleman Shelton improves as well. I'm just crossing my fingers. But I think as Bears fans, even though it's frustrating as hell that the offensive line is still looking pretty mediocre as a whole, let's just try to stay patient and trust Ryan Poles. I trust him fully as our general manager, and I think he's going to continue to do everything he can in his power to make sure we have the best starting five in order to protect our franchise quarterback and Caleb Williams. So overall, Bears fans, I wanted to come on here really quick and give you guys that quick little update on right guard Nate Davis, as it's not looking good for him at all as a starter on this football team. Before I let you guys go, let me ask you guys this. Do you guys agree with the decision if Matt Eberflus does decide to actually bench Nate Davis in favor of Ryan Bates? Let me know down below in the comment section. But as always, make sure you continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Geek on the Mic with every single Bears that you know. But other than that, be back for all new Bears podcasts right here on Geek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic.